What's up and welcome back. I'm doing another best of 2023 list. I've got through two sort of other lists. One was a worst of 2023 list, which I encourage everybody to watch because it's totally different perspective than you're going to find anywhere else on any other worst of lists. And I did sort of like an in defense of instead of like a worst of list. I did 10 films that I didn't hate as much as everybody else that I've seen with other people putting on lists. This is top 10 horror films of 2023. I did consider all films, including films without audio description, but it's harder to enjoy a film that does not have audio description. So 9 out of 10 films on this list had audio description when I watched them. One of them did not. And I also want to give a shout out because there's a film on this list that I feel like, based on what it was and the plot that I read and everything, I probably would have put it in the top 10 had I been able to watch it with audio description. So we're going to start off with that. My honorable mention, 11th place, but not really placed because it was also on my top 15 worst of the year. So, and that's Cobweb. I mentioned when I put Cobweb on my bottom 15, I was like, this one hurts because I actually thought this was a decent film, and it was working for me. But it was the whole third act is just a wasted on and it gets progressively harder and harder to follow and understand. But it's got a great cast and it's short. It moves along quickly. It has everything going for it that you would need. It doesn't waste time. It starts off pretty much right at the top. It's got some great misdirection and it could have been great. Sadly, Hulu did not offer audio description for the film, so it did not make the list. But coming in at number 10 was Cocaine Bear, which did have audio description on Peacock. More of a horror comedy. Actually, that's going to happen a couple times on this list. Actually, a lot. I don't know why we made a lot of horror comedies last year, but I tend to like them. And Cocaine Bear had an excellent cast, just a great little ensemble put together, and totally over the top violence and gore, like way over the top. A silly premise that worked somehow. It's not really scary. It has its moments where I guess if you're maybe like a little kid, it'd be kind of scary. Mostly just gory. And yeah, that's Cocaine Bear. So it had audio description. So number 9 was on my 10 films I didn't hate as much as everybody else, apparently, and that's Renfield, which I've seen appear on worst of lists. Yeah, I could argue that the Aquafina plotline is unnecessary to the film, but the other half of the film is great. So I actually really enjoyed the Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult thing that was happening. And this is another one where I watched it with audio description on Peacock. So that's 2 wins for Peacock. Yay, guys. That's 2 for the cock. Moving on up the list is number 8. It's a Wonderful Knife. This is the one that doesn't have audio description. And honestly, it would probably be a little bit higher if it did. But I thought the premise was fun. It was a horror movie where the concept was, it's like around the holidays, and this girl, she's the final girl who actually takes out the killer, but then like life just goes incredibly wrong and for her, and she just kind of makes a wish, and then it follows that. Basically, the plotline of It's a Wonderful Life, hence the title, but in like a slasher movie format, and it was entertaining. But I struggled with like who just got killed a lot. I was like, I don't know who these people are. Trying to follow their voices. I did have Joel McHale, which helped because I know what he sounds like. But other than that, it was It was one of those films I was like, I really I would have liked this film, but damn you, audio! Where's the audio description? So, I'm actually more mad at AMC Plus for not offering audio description, but I didn't want to leave this off the list because, man, uh, I this was totally up my alley. Like the kind of horror films that I like include a lot of those Cabin in the Woods, Final Girls, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, films that are able to balance both of it. And It's a Wonderful Life felt like it was doing that so well. And I can't not acknowledge that. I just have to. Cowblood is less my thing because it's a straight up horror movie, and I just thought it was directed and acted really well. But It's a Wonderful Knife is totally the kind of film that I'd love and would watch again if it had audio description. And as a matter of fact, if I ever find it with audio description, I probably will watch it again. So, number 7 is Evil Dead Rise. I didn't think I was going to like this. I thought it was going to be too much. I didn't know where to go. The plot is kind of dumb. Honestly, it starts off really hard. It really wants to get you. Really wants to be like, hey guys, we're an Evil Dead movie. And you're just like, oh, okay. And it's a mixed bag. It really is. And but it's absolutely balls to the wall. Just 100% nuts. This film is insane. Just absolutely crazy. It is probably qualifies more than anything else that I have on this list as an actual horror film in terms of what you're looking for. If you're looking for gore or body horror or insane kills or anything like that, this one has all of it. This one just has tons. Just of weird shit that was happening. It all had audio description on HBO Max. So shout out to Max for providing audio description. Yay! Evil Dead Rise. It has good acting in it too, which is fun. When you actually have, I think everybody forgot this one because it was at the beginning of the year, but I think this just deserves to be on the list. So, moving on up. Number 6 is Sick. Another win for Peacock. This one didn't even go theatrical. This one just went straight to video, which is weird. I've seen other people mention this actually positively, so I don't feel like I'm sticking my neck out on this one. I think most people saw Sick for what it was. It was a nice throwback to slasher films of the Kevin Williamson era, and it has a very small cast, and it does a lot with that. It's amazing what it does with such a small cast. But the killers, and the reasoning and everything, yeah, we could have done a little bit better work with that, but doesn't entirely make a whole lot of sense, but it's kind of fun along the way. It's interesting to watch a slasher movie where there isn't a whole lot of potential for elimination, where it's a slasher film, but you're like, this is not a big cast. How are we going to do this? And I thought that part was interesting. But, moving along. Number 5 is A Haunting in Venice. Yeah, this is a horror movie. It's ghosts. Don't look at me like that. Right now there's a horror, person just going, ah. This is pretty good. I think this is actually my favorite Poirot movie thus far. It's definitely on par with the first one. It's way better than Death on the Nile. And part of it is that I think because he took a slightly lesser known Agatha Christie book, finally, even retitled it, and just kind of did his own thing, that it allowed for there to be more surprise in it. And it was interesting to watch somebody who's so grounded in reality kind of lose their grip on maybe there is a ghost, maybe I am being haunted. And to see how they were doing certain things was interesting. I liked A Haunting in Venice a lot more than I thought I was going to. And the cast, I even liked Tina Fey. Some people didn't like Tina Fey. I thought she was good in this. So, big shout out to Jude Hill. Please keep casting him. He's a great little child actor. And yeah, if you haven't watched A Haunting in Venice, please do. This one is actually a shout out to Hulu, although with a caveat because they added it a little late. They did not have audio description the day it dropped. They had audio description a couple days later. So some people tried to watch this the day it came out and were like, what? Why doesn't this have audio description? And they didn't, they waited and for some reason and then put it in like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 days late. It's just, it's annoying. It's annoying to have to keep checking back and be like, is today the day that blind people get to watch the movie now? So not really a win for Hulu, but congratulations to Kenneth Branagh for being on the list. Number 4 is Scream 6. I like this franchise. I really do. I think it's gonna take a lot for a Scream. It would be either a really strong year for horror or a really shitty Scream movie for it to not be anywhere on a top 10 list of horror films. The fact that I would find 10 horror films that I thought were better than a Scream film that year would be rough. And this year I didn't really think. Last year, I actually had The Black Phone in my top 10 of the year. So I thought Black Phone was great. And that Scott Derrickson did a great job with that. And I put that in my top 10. I stuck my neck out for it. Here this year, I don't have a horror film in my top 10. It's not going to happen. Sorry. But Scream 6 is, it continued the tradition. It had some surprising moments. It felt like it put people in peril for real. I like the beginning. The ending's kind of silly, but it's interesting. It's a choice. And it's one that you don't really see coming because nobody would guess that. Sort of like outside the box thought processes, and I'm really saddened that Scream 7 is not going to have Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, and I have no idea what the next. So Scream 7 is probably going to test my limits because they're probably going to try to include the other new characters and then mix them back with like Nev Campbell. It's gonna be weird. It just is. I don't know what they're gonna do with Scream 7, but maybe just wait till Jenna Ortega is available and then rehire Melissa Barrera and make a film that makes sense and just do it. Anyway. Or don't make the damn movie. Thoughts?
Talk to me.
Number 3 is Talk to Me. I mostly like this. Like, I got what people got about it. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't blow me away. Like, it blew a lot of people away, didn't blow me away. I think I needed a character who was always on the outside, who was watching their friends, and then maybe needed to grab the hand at the last minute to do something, you know? But it felt like everybody was just kind of like, oh, it's a hand, we're going to do this. People were way too easily convinced. I get peer pressure, and that's what the whole thing is about, but damn. Damn. Everybody was like way too, just like, yeah, give me this hand. I want to put a dead body in me. Like, I kind of needed more levels of people, you know? I think it would have been more interesting to just see, maybe they have one party where they do it, and then something happens to, like, I don't know, Karen. I don't remember character names, but then, like, so we see the party and a couple people do it, and some other people like hesitant, and they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. And then, like, we have a break, and like Karen, just something happens to her between the first and the second parties, but the other kids don't know about it. And they're just like, where'd Karen go? I don't know. She's not answering my text messages. Oh my God, but the hand. Let's do the hand thing again. And then, like, more people are like, I don't know. Well, everybody else is here and they're still fine. They just don't know that Karen's not fine. She's somewhere. I feel like there's a better way to structure the film is my point. But I did give it a B+ because originality, concept, acting, it has everything in here. Nice to see Miranda Otto. Shout out to hiring her. I feel like I haven't seen her in ages. So that was a nice little hire. Good cast, and then definitely a great ending. I like the ending to this film, so it sticks the landing, which is really hard to do sometimes with a horror film. So talk to me. A24, good pickup. Actually, I have a Sundance, which is happening right now. So number two. So what are my top two films of the year? Well, I guess runner-up is going to be Totally Killer, which is on Amazon. I did really enjoy this film. I told you I enjoy horror comedies, and this was the most enjoyable of the horror comedies of the year for me because it had audio description. Um, it would be interesting to put this against It's a Wonderful Life on even playing fields if the other one had audio description. But I did really enjoy Totally Killer. Um, I thought it was an inventive plot. It kind of pokes a little bit of fun at a lot of things, and the time travel aspect, um, and who the killer is and all that kind of stuff. I thought was done sort of really well, and some of it is sort of like you find yourself kind of like shouting at the TV, and yeah, so but that's the fun of slasher movies. It had all of that wrapped up in it. Um, and before I do my number one, I do want to do one more shout out to a film that potentially could have been on this list had it had audio description. Uh, Totally Killers on Amazon. I rented Talk to Me, by the way, and so that's why I lost the streaming services with Talk to Me. I realized because I didn't watch it on a streamer. It's not on streaming services right now. Yeah, so shout out to The Blackening because that was another film. I was when I'm talking about horror comedies, I remember there was another one this year. So honorable mention of The Blackening. Sadly, I watched that on Stars without audio description, and yeah, it didn't have enough to it, but very much had potential to be on a top 10 list. My number one film is when I reviewed it, I said, I don't know if this is a horror film. I'm not convinced, but everybody else considers it a horror film. So we're going to go down that part. And horror means different things to different people. So my number one and the winner for best horror film of 2023 is Birth Rebirth. I totally did not think I would say that. When that film came out, when I saw a plotline for it, I was like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Child Frankenstein. That's what it sounded like to me. I was like, they do what? They take a kid back, and I don't want that. Get that out of my life. But people kept recommending it to me over and over. They're like, no, it's really good. No, it's really good. The acting. So I did it. I rented it. It's available on AMC Plus, but I dodged it and I just rented the damn thing so I could make sure I had audio description because it was just so many people kept recommending it to me. This shit came out in August. I watched it in December. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right at that point, because I wasn't going to, and then I did, and I'm glad I did. It's my favorite horror film of 2023. It does open really hard at the beginning to let you know it's a horror film. that that C-section and just like there will be gore, just to let you know. Although there's nothing really ever that rises to that occasion later on in the film, but it's there. So they do that to, I guess, test the waters of the audience, and it deals with a lot of really difficult topics that I feel like there are, conspiracy theorists online that probably watched this movie and thought this movie was like speaking to them. They're like, see, I've been telling you this whole time. This is what they're doing. They're taking fetal tissue and they're bringing kids back to life. I told you. This is what they're doing with abortions. They're reviving dead kids. I knew it. There's a whole movie about it. It's called Birth Rebirth. It's a documentary. I feel like there are people out there got the wrong plot line from this. But Judy Reyes, I was like, this girl from Scrubs, Carla, she's fantastic in this. Like, honestly, when I was watching Scrubs, I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna see that girl again. There was nothing. There's always a TV show, and there's always somebody on the TV show who is never gonna break out of TV. You're never gonna see them again. Find your favorite TV show and look at the cast, and you'll figure it out, and you'll be like, well, that was the one. There's always one. Even in Friends, David Schwimmer, he couldn't make the leap. And what show is he on right now? Where is he? What is he doing? He's directing. He moved because he couldn't be in front. So yeah, there's one in that group. So but yeah, I didn't, Judy Reyes, I just didn't think, she didn't strike me as being the breakout future star of Scrubs. And here she is giving a phenomenal award-worthy performance in Birth, Rebirth. I loved it. And it is my pick for best horror film of 2023. It's not going to be in my top 10 though. This is just too strong of a year. It's close. I mean, I know what my rankings are, and it may land in my honorable mentions, but it's close. It didn't make the top 10 though. So yeah. So that's my top 10 horror films of the year. Let me know what you think. I'm not sad I missed Thanksgiving. So if you're a Thanksgiving fan and you're like, why was Thanksgiving on the list? I intentionally didn't watch it. I did not want to. I read the plot summary. I didn't like the trailer. I thought the trailer was over the top when I saw it with Grindhouse. And some of you may be in on the joke and you may be like, yes, this is great. I'm so happy. I'm like, I never wanted to see that in feature length form. I was one of the few people who was like, nah, nope. I don't need to see that. So I didn't watch it. I also didn't see Saw X this year because we don't need a Saw X. And I haven't seen all of the Saws. So it wouldn't really be fair for me to jump to 10 and review it. Although I did do that with Insidious: The Red Door. Honestly, I went from like 1 to 5 and didn't do 2, 3, and 4. So, yeah, that's it. I don't think there's any other film that I need to be like, I didn't see this. And other people might expect me to say it. Yeah, Megan didn't make my list. I did see it. Didn't make the list. Yeah. So there you go. That's it. And thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I have a website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on X, Threads, or Instagram. Audio Description Project, adp.acb.org, and the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. Will let you know who's narrating these movies. So 9 films have audio description in my top 10. Not bad. I would like to make it 10 to 10. AMC Plus. Give with the program. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.